My next guest travels around the world exploring local cuisine and customs for his Travel Channel show, No Reservations. Please welcome chef and best-selling author Anthony Bourdain. So much to talk about. I'm watching your show recently, and you eat a warthog. What country were you in at the time?
Namibia.
Okay, you're in Namibia. You eat. You're offered a warthog, and not just any part of the warthog. Warthog sounds bad enough. You ate a very specific part.
Poop shoot.
Yeah. Why did you do that? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? Why did you do that?
I did not have any reasonable expectation.
There's no reason to do that.
And I didn't expect it to taste like chicken. I had a pretty good idea going in. You know, when you look out at a tribe of Bushmen, all with, earnest, heartfelt looks, looking proudly at their chief as he hands you the very best part of an animal that they spent a lot of time hunting down, sometimes you just got to take one for the team.
Yeah. So the chief offered you this very specific part of the
medium rare. Yeah,
backside, and you ate it. And I'm thinking I would have found a way out of it at that point. I would have said, "Oh, it's funny. I want to, but I just swore off this on my no poop shoot diet, Or something,
They get two inches of rainfall a year. They'd spent, maybe 2 days tracking the thing down, shooting it with poison darts that don't even have feathers on them.
Right.
They spent another few hours apologizing to the thing for taking its life. It's a luxury item to very poor people. They're proud of it. There's just no way you can, or at least I could say, I'd rather have a niçoise salad. Get a nice salad. It's not happening.
So a big part of your job is understanding the local customs. I think a lot of people might not have understood that it would be offensive if you hadn't eaten it.
If had I said no, it would have been
they'd be eating you next. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it would have been a real embarrassment for the chief and kind of a slap in the face to everybody who'd been nice to me all day.
Okay, so you travel all around the world. You have to know these customs. Have you ever really screwed up? Have you ever done something where you didn't understand the local custom and you got it wrong?
One thing that comes up a lot, we try to read up on appropriate and inappropriate hand gestures around the world. And I'm pretty good at it, but my producer, chief camera guy, is always making the mistake. If you've done well, he'll give this signal. Good job, A-OK.
Right. Not
good to do in Greece or Brazil.
Really?
You're basically saying, I'm looking for some hot man-on-man action now. And I would like to...
That just explains... That still explains what happened to be in Greece now.
The fresh taste of sheets.
Okay, that clears things up. You also, as we've established, you'll eat anything if you have to. Some of these things you actually like, and some of it's very counterintuitive. You like some kind of food when it's rotten. You like some forms of rotten food, and in fact, worldwide, there are people that think it's a delicacy to eat rotten food.
Well, the story of food, I mean, we essentially ferment wine.
Yeah.
Cheese is essentially something it's always a kind of a game of risk between the dark forces of rot. And I happen to like the fish sauce in Southeast Asia. It's kind of like a rotten fish paste that's quite good in food. The other end of the spectrum, though, in Iceland, their national dish, of which they're really proud of this stuff, is shark that they basically throw in a hole in the ground for 6 months and then let kind of fester in lactic acid. And they're really proud of it. They handle it with rubber surgical gloves. I mean, when the cook is, holding it like this with rubber surgical gloves, how good can it be?
He has a clothesline on his nose. Yeah. He's like, oh, here for you. Yeah.
The stench is so foul. If I were to just offer you a plate in this room, it could really stop a charging rhino all the way back at the other end of the room. It's really a whiff of the crypt. Just appalling, horrifyingly.
Have you eaten this food?
One bite was enough. No amount of liquor is washing that down.
You were praying for warthog butt at that point. If I could have some warthog butt to get this taste of rotten shark out of my mouth. Good. Now I'm happy.
Yeah, I got kind of nostalgic for it, really.
You get offered lots of strange drinks around the world. What kind of drinks are we talking about?
The thing is that the show is shown all over the world, so people in Southeast Asia and Africa see the chances are by the time I've arrived, they've seen the show. I'm the guy who I saw you eating the warthog rectum, so have you tried this? And it's kind of
I hadn't thought of that. People everywhere are like, oh, I got something he's not going to want to eat.
Yeah,
look what I just found.
And so they see me drinking a lot on the show as I try to be, polite
Sure.
and drink what's offered. That's usually something cloudy made in a 55-gallon drum in a jungle somewhere out of rice or fermented palm wine. But more and more these days it means some kind of a beverage with a reptile in it.
When you say there's a reptile in it,
it's snake wine or snake whiskey.
So if you drink snake whiskey, there's a dead snake in it? That's the idea?
You remember when did you ever have keep turtles as a kid?
Sure.
When the turtle died? Imagine pouring like a gallon of, jug wine into the turtle tank and putting a straw in after. That's pretty much the flavor spectrum we're talking about here. Not
okay. Good. No. Okay, there are people right now watching in fraternities that are like, let's do that. We should totally do that. That turtle's been dead for a week.
Just add Skittles and stir,
Add Skittles, yeah. Skittles bring out the flavor in anything. Everything becomes a raspberry explosion. You have said that when traveling the world, and in some parts of the world, you always recommend getting the street meat, the meat off of carts, before you recommend that over the food that's in a good hotel. Is that true?
If you're in Southeast Asia or Latin America and there's a long line of locals, stacked up 10 deep to get at some unrecognizable, vaguely meat-looking object at a street stand, chances are it's better than what they're serving at the American chain hotel. I mean, people get poisoned on our show. It's generally the Eggs Benedict back at the hotel. It's not the mystery food.
Right.
I generally tell people to try to avoid, if you're trying to eat well around the world, if you see more than 2 people from where you come from, you're eating in the wrong place. They're thinking, a sort of a tourist-friendly place that serves hamburgers or omelets.
They think they're getting the good food. You're actually getting the worst food.
You're visiting. They figure you're long gone by the time that burger kicks in.
He will die back in his own country.
Whereas the guy selling the mystery meat to locals, I mean, he's in business still, and
Yes.
people start, presumably he's not poisoning his neighbors. And it's
Right.
what they're good at. They know better than you more often than
That's
not.
good advice. Well, No Reservations airs Monday nights at 10 on the Travel Channel. You should check it out. It's a great show. Anthony, thanks so much for doing it. Good and be well. Be careful. Don't worry about you. Anthony Bourdain will be right back. Mates of State. Stick around.